Welcome to What's Your Story, where we, Jamie Marco,
and Stan Brown,
delve into the extraordinary lives of everyday people.
Listen in as we uncover the unique tales that shape who we are,
one story at a time.
Hey, let's get ready to explore today's story.
Let's do it. Well, hello, Mr. Brown.
Hello, another week for What's Your
Story.
I like it.
I know. And today we're in for a special treat because normally we only have one guest, but today we have two.
We have the budget for that?
No. I'm just going to bill someone for that. We'll just put an invoice somewhere for somebody. I don't even know.
And you must be a government agency.
Yeah, exactly. And they are very funny. They're waiting in the wings. I'm going to grab my...
We have a huge studio here on the back lot of Brown Marco Enterprises.
There we go. So I'm pumped. I'm going to grab the book that is with our guest today. Is written a book.
She wrote a book too?
Yes, exactly. And I would give an intro, but I think the coolest intro is that we get to talk as father-daughter. Well, this duo is mother-daughter.
Ooh, special.
Yeah. So should we do you want to talk about it? Should we just invite them in? What do you think?
Yes, do it. Go ahead, jump in.
All right, let's do it. I'm going to welcome them in. They're waiting in the wings. Let's kind of learn the story. Here we go. 1 and 2. Here they come. Mother, daughter,
Olivia's coming.
Hello.
Good morning. Good afternoon, ladies.
Good morning.
Hi. Can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Yep, you sound great.
Amazing. You both look way more professional and sound fabulous. And we are just pumped because this is our first recording with two guests, but also a family affair. Woo, woo.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So pumped. So I know Simone. I don't know you, Olivia. And Simone, neither one of you know my dad, Stan. So everyone, hello.
Hi, Stan.
Hi.
Hello,
Well, we are pumped to talk to both of you today, and we're already recording just because we like it to be super organic and go wherever we go. We're just gonna have a conversation, talk a little bit about, cool things that are going on and learn more about your story. We both obviously, I know a lot about you just because I'm a huge fan of your mom's, Olivia. I just
love it.
Adore her. But my dad has been briefed on a small bit, and he's done some research as well. We want to learn more. But we're going to start off by saying this. All right, here's our first question. What has been the best part of your day so far?
I have a great answer for that.
Ooh.
So
first.
On TikTok recently, there's been this trend about egg flights, which are boiled eggs, but you kind of, I guess the right word is accessorize them in a different way. So they're deviled eggs, but easy to go. And that's what I made for breakfast this morning. And it was very good.
Do we have proof of evidence, the picture? I'm sure you
yes
somewhere. Can we see what that looks
I will.
like?
Yes. I don't have my phone on me right now, but I can send it in the chat.
So these are fancy deviled eggs?
Yeah, but I didn't do the whole scooping out and mixing it together. I just put the sauce on top. I was a little bit lazy.
Oh, what was the sauce that you used today? Just curious.
Well, every single one was different. That was the best part about it, was every bite was different. I love deviled eggs. They're one of my favorite foods. So this was a fantastic way to start my morning. I'm not going to lie.
So you made multiple eggs, multiple different combinations.
Yes. I would highly recommend.
I love that. They've actually made a comeback in the past few years. They've been showing up on menus in different big city restaurants and all these different things with truffle and caviar and all this stuff. I'm just the mayo paprika done.
Yeah, with multiple preparations, how many totally did you ingest?
I had 6. Well, 3 eggs, but 6 halves.
Oh, okay, that's different.
Okay, that's
6 eggs would be insane. That's not in this economy.
Not in this economy.
Well, good protein.
So funny.
Get your own chicken.
Don't challenge her.
I would love that.
And
if she could have one at the apartment, she would.
Oh, I would. Absolutely.
Simone, what about you? What's been the best part of your day so far?
So, to be honest, it's been a little bit of a rough morning. I woke up with a horrible headache and it's back again. But the best part of my day was I went to give all of the stuff to my accountant because this is how late I file my taxes. So for
Yes.
2023, I'm like, and it's like such a good feeling to get that like off of my desk and for the woman there to offer the accountant there, the woman there, the accountant to offer me uh bookkeeping services so I don't have to do all the stuff I've been doing. I think I've felt obligated for so long to continue doing all the bookkeeping because I'm a CPA, but that's not what I do anymore. And so I just felt, oh, that's saving money. But you know what? It takes so much time and it's so stressful sometimes. And I'm like, oh, you can take that off my plate too. Here you go. Yes, you can have that too. So
Dr.
that was
Brown
a
has a
really good,
question.
yes.
Did the intensity of your headache in any way dissipate after you handed the files over?
Probably did. Probably did. I woke up like literally it woke me up from sleep this morning. And then of course Rob was
Oh,
all
wow.
worried. He's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, he's like, "Worst headache of your life?" I'm like, "It's pretty bad, but I'm not going to the hospital. We're good." So
I made
it
that mistake of saying those words, worst headache of my life. I'll never say it again around him.
Well, and he's a neurosurgeon for those that don't
Yeah.
know this. So Olivia's dad and Simone's husband is a neurosurgeon. So I think if you say that, does he go into like full panic mode and is like, oh my gosh, start like examining you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Diagnostic mode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then he can't stop fixating on it. So like you have to give him hourly updates and so which
Listen,
it's nice, but hello, you know,
See,
the
still.
vice
very good
versa.
news is the day is still young. You got a lot more you can accomplish.
It is.
Yes.
But if I went to my dad and said I had the worst headache ever, he'd be like, drink water.
It takes you're dehydrated.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Well,
probably
I'm so
true.
glad that you were able to do that. You have now given me a headache because I haven't done mine yet, and
Mm.
it's weighing on me. But yeah, I just got the picture, so you guys can't see this. But Olivia, I think you sent it, or whoever put it in the chat. Are those your eggs that you sent, or those
Yes, those are the ones
sample?
I sent. They're kind of ugly right now. Like my plate didn't work very well, but I swear they're really good. Would highly recommend.
Way to like, I mean, let's just show this. Can you see that now, everyone?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness.
It
Like,
was a great breakfast. Like sometimes trends on TikTok, they don't work out. They're very trendy. But this was like, I would do this again.
what do you have here? I'm just curious. What
Okay. So my favorite one is on the top, and I did tahini, which is like sesame paste, and then a little bit
Mm.
of chili crunch and lemon. And that was so good.
Mm.
But I have like street corn dip on one of them. I did pesto on one of them. I'm so glad you guys are interested in this because I've already talked to like four people about this today. I did kimchi on one of them, salsa. It was
Wow.
so good. Like I'm definitely gonna have this for breakfast tomorrow too.
I don't
I
see where
mean,
the Tums are. Where are the Tums?
I know, right?
I'm young. I don't need them yet.
Yeah, you're young and you have Crohn's disease. So like,
oh,
hello.
oh my gosh. I mean,
Actually
the
it's
prep for it must take so much time as well, too. Like that's like commitment. Like it takes like 30 minutes to prep them and like
Yeah.
seconds to eat
I
them.
mean, I'm unemployed right now, so
Well, maybe that
That'll
will
change.
change with this call. All right, Dad, what's been your best part of your day so far?
At my age, waking up is pretty significant. Don't tell your husband that.
He's not your age.
Does he make house calls?
Oh, her husband.
Yeah, of course.
He would for you.
I would say the best part of my day today is that my daughter and I are going on a besties cruise,
Mm.
a Disney cruise, and we go with my best friend and her daughter, and then my daughter and their best friend. And so we were packing this morning. And normally I pack, my daughter's almost 9, and normally I pack all by myself for her and for me, but she was really vested this time. So she was packing, getting stuff together, and then she was like, Mommy, I'm so tired. I was like, yeah, exactly.
I
Imagine that.
actually just sent my mom a video that like Virgin Cruise Lines is doing this deal. You have to be like 18 or older, but it's like you can bring your kid for free on the cruise.
Oh, like your
Yeah.
adult kid.
Your
Yeah, your
adult
adult
kid.
kid can
So it
come
was a
for
hint, is what I'm hearing you saying. You
It
were
was a
hinting.
it was a hint and it was funny because the same day she sent it to me, her older sister sent it to me as well. And I was
and
like,
this
you
is
get to
reminding
bring
me.
two or
I
just
had a
one?
dream last night that you brought her over me. That was my dream
Oh,
last night. And I was like, whoa.
Oh my gosh. So,
Guess we're taking a whole different turn here.
Yeah.
right.
yeah. Well, there's 3 girls in my family, and I'm admittedly, I'm admitting it. I'm my dad's favorite. He hasn't admitted it yet, but I'm admitting it. Well, we are so pumped to have you both on, and I'd love to, kind of you both have a podcast, Daughter Dearest. So great. We got a chance to listen to a few of those. And there's so much we can go. We only have about 40 minutes to talk with you, and I'm sure we'll invite you back. Maybe it'll be like an ongoing thing. But I'd love for you to kind of just explain to our listeners a little bit about, how you got to this point. Like you've got a podcast together, your mother-daughter, and give us like a little insight on how you got to this point, and then we'll just organically ask some questions.
You want me to go?
Well,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
you go.
Okay. Since I'm older,
And wiser? No, I'm just kidding.
age before beauty. Isn't that what some people say? There we
I go for that.
go. So, I mean, I really took a crazy route to get where we are right now. I mean, I started off as I mentioned, as a CPA. I have done many different things in my life, and I struggled for a long time. I really didn't realize I had a very abusive relationship when I was a teenager, and I didn't realize how much that affected my confidence level, how much self-doubt I was carrying around for years. And I used to mask it. I had a facade on, and I never really knew what I wanted to do. So I tried 50 million things. And what I finally realized is what I love is sharing stories. I didn't know I had a story to share. So the first time I was invited to speak on stage for something within the Jewish Federation, that was when I learned I had a story, and how much a story can impact other people. And when you share your story, how other people are willing to share their stories. It's like this bridge that opens up as soon as you, even if it's your struggles as well, whatever you want to talk about, it really opens up this door for other people to come in. And so that's what I do now. I speak. I wrote a book. I'm working on my second book, and then Olivia and I decided to have a podcast. And I think the way the conversation went, and Olivia, I tend to tell things wrong. At least your dad tells me I tell it wrong
Yeah.
all the
Oh
time.
my God, every phone call right now is you got that wrong.
Yeah.
Like, okay, chill.
I was like,
My
it is
story.
my version
It's
of a
my
story.
story.
Right. Like you might have heard something else, but that's not what I heard. So, we were talking one day, and we're like, we have the most ridiculous conversations. We should make this into a podcast. I think other people would enjoy it. I think other people might learn something from it. And that's kind of how we began. And we're actually switching the name over. So right now it's called the Daughter Dearest podcast, but we're actually rebranding it to be called Her Unshakable Confidence, because that's really what my whole brand is about. And that's a lot of what we talk about on our episodes, is really building confidence from the inside out. So
So we
that's
can,
how,
Jamie, we can steal their title once they give it up.
Oh yeah.
yes, you can have it.
Continue.
I can just transfer it all to you.
Simone, a question.
Yes.
Having gone through some things in your life, even my own life, I think one of the best things I went through was learning to overcome personal fear, and how much stronger you get overcoming that fear. In the speaking engagement, was that kind of part of the epiphany? Was the fear of getting up on the stage and overcoming that fear, or what caused a U-turn in your life?
Yeah, I think that piece was really understanding it. For a long time, I think it was fear of rejection or fear of disappointing other people. And so it wasn't the standing up on a stage, and standing in front of people, no problem. But would they actually understand me? It was all about what they thought of me, and getting on that stage made me realize that I don't have anything to be afraid of.
Did you feel a change during the speech, or only afterwards when you got reaction to it?
Well, during it, because there were men crying. So like as soon as a
Okay.
man cries when you speak, then you're like, oh, okay, that's a good story.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I'm so fascinated, being a mom and having a daughter myself, and like thinking about just your relationship. Olivia, you are how old? You remind us how old
I'm
you?
21.
That's at 21. So listen, you've had 21 years learning from your mom, experiencing this. When you get to hear the stories, because obviously you've heard them, you've read the book, you know what she's passionate about. What is that? You talk about confidence. What has that done for you through growing up? Like, how has that helped you become who you are today based on your mom's experiences?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting when she speaks about her struggle with confidence, because like it's just not something I perceived at all growing up, because she was super mom in the way of, especially just like compared to every other mom that I know, like not only you just say the six kids thing and people look like that's oh, wow, oh my God, she does that all. But then it's like, yeah, my mom climbed a mountain. My mom was the head of this philanthropic organization. Oh, by the way, she became a teacher. Oh, by the way, she was a medical sales rep. And for me, it kind of just like, oh, well, set like there's no boundaries. Like I can do it because she can do it.
I
And like
love
I can, yeah. I mean, I think she really instilled in me of like you can follow your passion with career wise too, because I mean, I just finished undergrad and I graduated with the degree that I'm not really interested in. And she was in full force when I said I want to do law school. Um, so I don't know. I like having her behind me has really helped like me in my own path.
That's amazing. You know, there is a special bond between mother and daughter, but obviously there are six children in your family.
Mhm.
And do you want someone to kind of tell us a little bit about how you organically became six in your family, and what does that look like for your relationship with all six children? Because they're all different sexes and, you know, different scenarios, and how do you balance that?
Well, I'll say first of all, I don't ever believe in balance because I feel like it's a give and take, right? You're either spending more time on one thing and less time on another. So you figure out how to make it work. So we have three biological children. They are now 28, 24, and 21.
Good.
And
I didn't
then,
know their ages.
yeah, you're welcome. I'm
Yeah.
here for you.
24. Got to remember that one.
Yeah,
The
24.
baby. Oh, the baby out of the first half.
Yeah, yeah. She's the baby of the first half. She became the middle child, right? And like in the weird, right? Like she's the middle
Yeah.
child, but there's
Yeah.
two middle children actually, because so then there are so Ari, who is from Ethiopia, he's 20. Noah is from South Korea, he's 18, and Millie is also from Ethiopia and she's 16. And
Did you get them
so
at very young ages?
we adopted Noah was our first adoption. So he's from South Korea. He was a baby. He was 4 months old. And then we adopted Ari from Ethiopia, and he was 4.5 years old. And then Millie was 2.5 years old. So
Being that they're so 4 months old, then Olivia would have been like about a year old when you adopted the first
Oh,
card.
Ari was four
no,
years.
Oh, I'm
no.
sorry.
So Noah was 4 months old when we adopted Noah, he was 4 months old. Olivia is 3 years. So she was about 2.5 years older than him.
Oh
So
no.
she
Wow.
was
Okay.
three. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
21, 20. That's why I was
Yeah.
thinking. I got
Yeah.
confused.
And
Okay.
Yeah.
then when Ari's and I are the closest in age, which I always forget, but he was four when he was adopted, so I was five, 5.5.
Got
How do
it.
you manage that with career and all that crazy stuff?
You just go.
You
You
don't
know,
live, you just do.
you just do. I mean, obviously, I don't like sitting, so that worked well for me, and I don't mind chaos. I have learned not to respond to the word mom. I mean, now they have to call me by my first name because I've stopped hearing it. I'm getting a little bit better about that, but when you hear mom, 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 mom 1,000 times a day, you literally set up this barrier, and so they'll be like, mom, 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 Simone, and then I'll be like, how can I help you? It's kind of
I mean,
horrible, actually.
I kind of feel like you should be getting the gold medal this week as
Uh,
well. You know, sharing in the Simone gold medalish.
I am just hoping that after this time, Starbucks will be able to get my name right. I thought after the last Olympics, I was like, okay, everybody knows who Simone Biles is. They're going to spell my name right at Starbucks. Nope. Samon, Simon. I mean, they across the board. So I'm like,
You need
I'm
a
really
pseudonym.
hoping that.
Pick a pseudonym. That's all.
You gotta try like Kawa or like one of the other coffee houses and see what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. I could
Well,
just change my name to something easy, like
That's boring.
Sam. I
nah,
know
be
it's
No,
you.
boring.
you
No one
won't.
does you better
Knowing
than
you,
you.
you won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, be you. So it's so interesting, you know, like that's a lot of change for you as a mom and as a wife. And then Olivia, you got to experience that as a sibling. What would you say was, you know, what was going through your mind realizing that you had these two biological siblings, but then also now you were getting to get to experience more siblings and more love, and what did that do for you at that age when that started happening?
Yeah, I mean, I was so young when Noah was adopted, but so I just, I remember going from being the baby to having an actual baby. And his was probably like the most, I don't want to say they were all unique in circumstances, but um, because he was like an actual baby. And I just remember like even now, like I babysat a lot, so I'm like comfortable around actual babies, but it was kind of like the first time, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but just like seeing how like when kids are like newborns is still kind of weird to me because I never really saw my siblings in that stage. But I mean, I kind of just was down for more friends, honestly,
Mhm.
was how it worked out. I mean, I'm close with, I would say, out of all of my siblings, and if Millie ever listened, she would be disagreeing with me on this, but I feel like I'm the closest with all of them individually. Like I have relationships with all of them, and more or less. I mean, it's kind of hard to keep up with five people on a regular basis, but I don't know, it was just fun. Like it's fun if you get annoyed at one of them, you can go talk to someone else, and it's like where I'm at the stage now where my younger siblings will call me when they're upset about something that's happening in the house. And that's like a really fun position to be in, just to know like I have their trust and they feel comfortable enough to communicate with me. Um,
Let me talk bad
honestly,
about mom.
well, yeah,
Common
yeah,
enemy.
but
That's a great
it's
podcast title. That's fantastic.
it's really nice though. Like I don't know, to have that kind of trust in it because it is just like it's not the adoption that makes our family like a weird dynamic or an unusual. I honestly think a lot of it is like the age gaps because for me and my older brother, we're 6 years, and then me and my younger sister are 5 years. So like on both ends, it's like a pretty big gap. But I mean, it's just like kind of finding ways to navigate that. Now they're not like the skin color or like the different adoption status because I don't know. We all kind of saw mom and dad as mom and dad and wasn't ever
Yeah.
a transition period like that.
At the risk of throwing a hand grenade into the conversation,
Of
Oh my God, I'm
course.
gonna
I think
apologize for my dad right now. Go
No, I
ahead,
love
Dad.
it.
We like hand grenades.
you finished my sentence.
Ah,
I think parents are more uniquely aware that they have infinite love for their kids, no matter how many kids you have. Where I think the siblings are always vying for attention. And the competitiveness, which is
Yes.
the natural thing, is they love me more, they love me less. It gets really gets complicated. And
It
with adopted kids, it may even be a different dynamic as well.
and I don't know if I can speak for like them on that, saying of the competitive nature of siblings if they feel any differently. But there definitely is like who's in the top right now. I would like to say that my older brother and I have been in the top for like the last 2 years because he has a job and he's engaged and they love the fiance and I'm going to law school. So it's like, okay, it's not like, oh, your personality is better. It's like, oh, you have more going for you right now.
So
You've
Like
got the podcast with your
perceptions
mom.
reality. Okay.
I don't even know if the podcast affects my standing. It's like, can you go off and live by yourself right now? And I was like, mine is yes. Like I could. Well,
well, no, you
kind of.
couldn't.
Kind of.
Not right now, you couldn't.
No,
And
but that's
that
why I'm
is
number
not how we
two.
look at
That's
it.
why I'm
That's
number
pretty
two.
funny. You're number two. Okay.
But Jacob's number one because I mean, it's not because he's Jacob, it's because he's about to get married and you
And
like his fiance.
he's a fully functioning human. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to pay any bills anymore, which is fantastic.
I will put the pin back in the grenade. Sorry.
But I actually think that's a fair point of like you always say this, mom, and dad says it too. You guys like give us attention and love in different ways because every kid like has different needs. And but when you're 11, you're in I like Ari gets straight A's on something and he gets a prize and I get straight A's and it's like, okay, well, you of course you're gonna get straight A's. You always get straight A's. It's hard to like contextualize that. But like if Ari scored a goal at a soccer game, it'd be like, okay, yeah, okay, of course Ari did. But if I did it, we would like it'd be
End of
world
the
ending.
world.
And world ending. So it's taken like a lot growing up to realize like they gave us attention when like in areas where we needed it. Like
Mhm.
I was doing well in school. I didn't like need in math, yeah, I needed an additional tutor, but like
Who
on that
doesn't?
end, yeah, well, my older brother, I wish. But on that end, like it was academically I was doing fine, but my younger brother, he's so athletic, he's so socially smart, but he's not necessarily the best in a school setting. So that's where he gets his extra attention.
Yeah, I think it's so fascinating that you can all be raised in the same house, right? The same
Hmm.
household, same parents, and in some cases, same DNA, some not, but like just totally come out. Like I mentioned, I have two sisters, and Dad, you chime in here, but I feel like we are all so different from each other. And
As you should be.
Yeah, but it's just crazy because we're raised in the same like we
Well,
see the
but
same.
kids don't realize that the parents are changing also and growing in different ways at different times of their lives. You see parents just as a parent as a stationary thing. It's dynamic. It's moving all the time.
That's a good point. I never thought about it actually. Like as we were growing up, you were also changing too, so that could have impacted, I
I
never.
heard something recently that was like a reminder that it's your parents' first time on Earth too.
Mhm.
So like they don't know what they're doing. They're winging it as well as you are.
Oh, I will
Yeah.
fully admit to that.
Yeah. And I can tell you, even so, like with Jacob, we were so focused on academics with him. So in kindergarten, he could multiply, he could divide, like he could do everything, right? And
Wow.
now, like as the kids got old, as we had more and more kids, we were like, do you need to multiply and divide? We'll work on that later. Like, I'm tired. I'm tired. Um, but yeah, I mean, we definitely focused on different things with each kid because that's what they needed. And I can definitely say, I mean, I was 24 when I had Jacob. I was 21 when we got married. I was 24 when I had Jacob. And I had no idea what I was doing at all. Right. And there's no handbook. And even if there were, it wouldn't work because everybody's so different. And looking at how I, and Rob will say the same for him, that how he was when the older kids were young is way different than he is now. And so it is understanding how we change over time as well. And our parenting styles are going to change if you have more than one kid. And even if you have one kid, they still will change because
Oh, no
you're growing
question.
as well.
Sure.
So,
That's crazy. Olivia, you were saying that there's that age gap between, the oldest and the youngest. And it's funny that it will change as you get older. The gap becomes
Hmm.
smaller as you
Yeah.
get older. Because my
I
older sister, we're all 4 years apart. And my older sister is 8 years older than my younger sister. But as we've gotten older, and we're all now, well, we used to all be in our 40s. One's now aged out. But like as you get closer, that gap becomes smaller. It's really interesting. And like I know Simone, you and I are both of our husbands are older than us. And I feel like sometimes like my husband's 8 years older than I am. And I look at my daughter and I like someone eight, so that would be like her dating like a 16-year-old. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's horrific. Absolutely
yep.
never,
Yep.
But it's just amazing how as we age, the gaps become smaller. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely experienced that with my older brother. Because I don't know, how old was I when he went away for school? Like I was barely, I don't know, I think I was 12 maybe for college. And then he came back for a year, lived at home for a year, my junior year of high school, and we became like really close friends during that.
Mhm.
And since then, just we maintain like a level of closeness because of that. And I'm always like super grateful for that opportunity. It's like might not have been what he wanted at the time, but it's like our relationship would not have existed without him coming home. Um, and I don't I've definitely experienced that. And he'll say it too. I think because he's the oldest, he's always like, you guys just become less annoying with age, so it's easier to talk to. Um, and
Yeah.
I'm interested to see, like, I honestly sometimes I wish my 16-year-old sister was closer in age with me because like I'm out of college and she hasn't even started yet, and there's just going to be like her partying phase is going to come so much like after mine ended that it's kind of sad that it's like not
Yeah.
clicking like that.
That's so funny. Now, so before you guys joined us, we were talking about how we're excited to have you on. My dad's like, all right, Jamie, when are we climbing the next mountain? When are we climbing? Like, Dad, we need to like go climb the celery fields. Like, we need to like focus
Literally.
locally. Olivia, have you done anything like, and for the listeners that haven't, that aren't aware or maybe don't know just yet, we'll ask Simone about your climbing in a second. But Olivia, is that on your target before you start law school?
Not before. I'm definitely not enough shape to do that, but I want to. Like it's definitely something I want to do. And it just seems so fascinating to me. And like having that kind of personal achievement under your belt, like, wow, I can do anything. I climbed a mountain is pretty incredible. Have I done anything of the sorts? No, I camped a couple times this summer though, and that was interesting.
Congratulations. That sounds like
Yeah.
a chat for another podcast for sure. Um, Simone, I'd love to get into that. Like, what was that? Tell our listeners a little bit about, what you did and what
Mm.
prompted you to do that and kind of explain a little bit from there.
And
So,
how many kids did you have at the time, if any?
yes.
All of them. All of them.
All of them?
So it was 2015. And again, I mean, I really was struggling with doubt. I mean, trying to figure out what I needed, what I wanted, and it was totally out of my comfort zone. Actually, a friend of ours had climbed it the year before, and he had asked Rob if he was interested. And of course, the way I tell the story. So if Rob listens to this, he's going to say, that's not the right story. But the way
That
I
sounds
tell the
like a pattern
story,
though.
oh, I
So
Yeah,
know.
thank you.
Yes, is they asked him and he said, 1, 2, 3, no, thank you. Call Simone. He's like, I'm not going to sleep in a tent on the top of a mountain. No way. I'm not doing that. Although he probably, I don't want to say he regrets it, but he's like, you know what? I kind of wish I would have done something like that.
Yeah, that's right in
So
retrospect.
yeah.
hindsight.
And yeah, exactly. Always 2020.
Hmm.
So I said yes. And I went with, there were 16 of us. I didn't know anybody. And we were raising money through, for the Live Strong Foundation. And I was gone for about 10 days. I trained really hard. I signed up 6 months. I think I was the last person to sign up in the group. I signed up 6 months before we went. And I really went to the gym every single day. I wore this ridiculous elevation training mask. And today it would be fashionable because you can wear a mask and nobody's like, what's wrong with you? But it had a gorilla face on it. So I would wear it walking the bridge. I would wear it at the gym. I would do my boxing classes wearing it. And the kids were like, oh my gosh, you look ridiculous. And I was like, you're welcome. But it really helped. It really helped me build lung capacity. And I felt like I was in good shape when I got there. Probably the best shape
Which
that
mountain
I've
was
been.
this?
I'm
Which
sorry.
mountain? Which
Oh,
mountain?
sorry. I should have mentioned that. Yes, I climbed Kilimanjaro. So,
Which is
um,
located where? In Nepal?
it's in Tanzania. It
Good
is the
point.
highest freestanding mountain. It's 19,341 feet.
Ooh, baby.
You go to
Yeah.
base camp or you went actually like all the
No,
way?
that's the top. The top is
Okay.
19,341 and you go all the way to the top. Now, the nice thing about it, and for people who aren't climbers, it's really a hike because you don't
Yes,
have to you don't have to wear crampons or anything like
sure.
that. You're just, it's just about breathing and one foot in front of the other. And actually, our coach, he would say, don't waste your pennies. So don't do stupid things. Well, don't try to sing. Don't try to do dance moves.
Conserve
Just,
your air, sure.
yeah, one foot in front of the other.
Is single person trail?
So part of it, yes. So once you get to, there's actually multiple ways to get up the mountain. So we did one where it was, I think, 5 days up, 2 days down. And there you had, from the final ascent was from about 15,500 feet around there to 19,341. And you do that in you start at like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, because you want to be there for sunrise. And obviously that was the hardest part. And that was, you have your headlamps on, you're literally following people up
Wow.
in switchbacks. And it was incredible. And it was the first time when we reached the summit, I kind of let go of that layer of, I can't do this, or I'm never going to apply for anything because I'm not capable. It really took away. I mean, obviously, the voice inside our heads consistently says stuff, but I'm now able to use the different things that I've learned and the methods that I've created so that I can control that and I'm able to move forward truly confidently. And I think it's been something really good for my kids to see too. And other women around me. You saw that I was at this women's retreat, and even we had a dinner the other night, and one of the women said, she's a rabbi, and she said, oh, I want to run my sermon by you, something like that. And she was like, it's not my best, but hopefully you guys will be. And I was like, no, 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 no. You do not start with negativity. It's going to be awesome. But this is what we do, right? We
Sure.
Mhm.
say something like
Yeah.
someone will give us a compliment and we'll say, oh, you really think so? Or
Yeah.
no, I don't feel like I look good in this. So it was really life changing for me. And I think it's been life changing for my family. And I would I would do it again, especially with the group that I went with. I met some amazing people. I have a bad knee, so I don't know where I'm going to be going from there, but we'll see.
Sure.
What
I have
a great
another
accomplishment.
Yeah, I have another girlfriend who did that. We talk about it. I'll have to keep talking about introducing the two of you. It's just incredible. I think it's absolutely amazing. I have a good friend who, first of all, you've done two TEDx talks, correct?
Correct.
Correct. And I think we're
Yes.
trying to get another one in the future. But I have another friend who, when I did mine, his talk was all about the enoughness guy. And
Mm.
he tells this story about how Oprah Winfrey interviewed so many thousands of people throughout her career. And she said that every celebrity, every dignitary, every politician, every famous person she ever had on the show always said the same exact thing after their interview was over. And it was, how'd I do?
Mm.
And that's the thing, is that like we all have that, someone else once told me that fear, false evidence appearing real,
Mm.
that we put these thoughts in our head and we think about those things. And I just think it's incredible that you have found a path to navigate that, or at least coping tools to help us get beyond it. Because listen, we all do that. We're all like, oh, I feel this way, or maybe it's not so great, or maybe it's that. It's when you figure out the coping tools. And I think that comes with maturity, one thing, but also it sounds like, doing the things you've done have gotten you there. The other thing I was going to share with you is that you said the gorilla mask, and it hit really home, because when I think about gorilla mask, this is what I think.
Stop it! Stop it! Oh no, jeez.
That is my dad in a
I was
full
actually
gorilla suit.
during that year. I was one of the Sherpas that went up. So this is my life.
I mean, he has a full gorilla suit that I feel like, Dad, we need to train, but you need to wear that.
Doesn't everybody?
Well, Olivia has a couple of fears in life, and gorillas are one of them.
Oh, I'm
So,
sorry. I just
Then Olivia
sorry.
gets to wear the suit at her convenience.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Crap, I should have read the room. Should have read the room.
no.
Olivia, when are you? So you've just graduated undergrad, and then
Yeah.
you said law school is on the horizon. Is that coming up now?
Like next week horizon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. And
I
why?
know.
Listen, your mom has shown you that she's done so many different career paths. Obviously, your dad went the medical route. So law, like, why law? What is that?
Well, anytime that anyone meets an argumentative 9-year-old girl, they always tell her, instead of saying, oh, she's a B word, they say, you should be a lawyer.
Mm.
And I feel like I've heard that a lot throughout my life. But it was really my grandma, honestly. I mean, plus my parents' support. But I remember even probably a year before I applied to law school, even before, because I wasn't sure at first. I remember just like having a conversation at the dinner table with her. And she's like, I don't know why you won't do this. And for those of you who don't know anything about my grandma, she's pretty badass. Like, she has a medical degree and got it in a time where women did not get medical degrees. She knows how to fly a plane. She can do quite literally anything.
Which side,
And
paternal or maternal?
my mom's mom.
Got it. It's
So
surprising.
yeah. So just like, I don't know, we talked about it, and just hearing her say that you should do it, I was like, okay, I did a law class. I was pretty good at it, but I was also like messing around at the time, and was really still hoping that marketing would work out and be something I was interested in, because I was 3 years into my degree at that point. And I did a summer internship, and I hated it. I hated everything about it. I liked,
Hopefully they're not listening.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
I loved the company. I still do. And I loved the field of
that's good.
entertainment.
That's good. You
I
said that
do.
right. Yeah.
I I love the people that I met there, but the job itself was just not interesting to me. Like, I couldn't, and I was like,
Listen,
why am
if
I?
they're
It's
listening,
a
they
shame you
will
didn't do that
appreciate
3 years earlier.
Yeah, that was kind of the
Sure.
biggest thing, was my junior year. It was like, oh my God, I can't like restart a bachelor's degree now, but also like this law interest has always been there. I love reading. I love reading for classes. I love analyzing. I love solving puzzles. For me, studying for the LSAT was honestly kind of fun, because a lot of it is memory games and puzzles.
Mm.
Um, and I wouldn't go home. I joined them on a trip for the 4th of July last summer. And I literally like, I was working from home that week, or working remotely that week. And I just like had a conversation with them, my parents, and was like, I can't do this. Like, what do I do? And they were like, you should just do law school. Like, you've talked about it for a while. Like, you still have time to apply. And I was like, do I have time to apply? I did. It worked out. And I kind of just pulled the trigger and did it. It was scary for sure, but I'm so glad I did it. Like, this is the right path for me.
Should you intern at a legal firm for some reason?
I honestly haven't at all. I should. But I'll do that next summer. For this summer, like, even the dean of the law school I'm going to. So I'm going to Belmont in Nashville, which is where I am right now. We did like an admitted student day there, and he was like, this is like the last free summer that you'll ever have, ever. Don't work this summer. Go do something fun. And it's still been work. Like I've had tons of reading so far and school hasn't even started.
Yeah.
But I'm just like really excited for it. And I'm really excited to be in a learning environment where everyone like is interested and engaged. And I don't know if it was like the aftermath of COVID or just like Zoom classes and like learning how to be in a classroom from that. But that's just not a feeling I got at my undergrad.
Sure.
Mm,
Like I don't think kids know it, but like the
yeah.
professor knows when you're not paying attention. They're standing at the front of the room and you're just looking at your laptop. Like they know. And
Were you a senior in high school when COVID came out?
yeah, I did. I mean, like when people are like, "Oh, it was bad," like it was bad, but I did like the last 4 months of senior year online, but it wasn't like horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
and then
because
I
the beginning
did.
of that year sucked for you already.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's also my senior year. I was diagnosed with Crohn's, and I was like really
Ah,
sick my entirety of first semester. So for me, like getting 4 months of like being able to stay home was kind of great. Like
Yeah.
it brought down. I was on pretty strong immunosuppressants at the time, so like that. I mean, while the risk of COVID was around, no one was leaving the house, and it
Yeah.
was. I don't know. It was nice for me. And then I did get to go to school my first year. I went online, but I stayed in the dorms and I was in New York City, which was weird. But honestly, I'm so glad I went during COVID because I found a love for the city that I would not have found if I went without it. It was really nice to explore and get to know it when there wasn't tourists. Because tourists really only started coming again my junior year, so like 2 years ago. So we got 2 years that were pretty tourist free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Um,
Can't even
but
imagine.
yeah, it was weird. Definitely like Zoom classes were not engaging and maybe that's why I necessarily like didn't get a big interest in what I was doing, but it's mostly like I think people have forgotten how to learn. And I definitely am struggling with it. I'm trying a lot more. I'm really grateful. My first year of classes at law school are no computers in the classes, and that's like I get distracted so easily. So even having my laptop open, like I won't pay attention. Um, but it's like it's kind of it makes you think like what's going to happen with a lot of these kids who aren't learning in classes.
Yeah. It's so, it was interesting. So I have a family member who's getting ready to go to college for the first time. And going to Tennessee actually. And so what's really interesting, we're talking about like what's the biggest advice that you would give? Like he was asking me what kind of advice would you give me? Like what would you say? And it's been a long time since I was in school, but one thing that I remember was that relationship with my professors. And for those that are getting a bad thought here, not like that, but like the fact that like I actually made myself present and a point of interest for them in regards like what I mean, like if I had a class of 500 people, I would go up and I'd say, "Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm in your class. I just want to introduce myself." I would go to their office hours and I would meet them and they would know who I was. And then I'd go back to the next lecture class of 500 people. And yeah, did I put myself in the line of fire for being called on? All of the time. I was called on, this and that. But I also built that relationship to where this is like probably one of the best stories of my life is my senior year. I had to I took college algebra my freshman year and I didn't do so great in it. And we had what was called college like grade forgiveness. So we took it, I got to take it again my senior year and I was able to study and pay attention. I was getting A's on it, but I was also interviewing for jobs. And at the time, I was interviewing to work on a cruise ship. So I had to miss class sometimes. And I went to my professor and I said to him, I'm going to be interviewing. I'll have to miss class, but I promise to make up the work. And he goes, "Oh, get me a free cruise one day, this and that." And we had this really great relationship. Fast forward to the last day of the semester, right before I was graduating. I needed to get an A in that class. The final was how you got the A. I wake up, I leave my sorority house, I go to get to the, to the wherever the room where the test was. I walk in and I'm like, why are people leaving? Like, what's going on? Totally had the time wrong.
Oh
Oof.
wow.
Time wrong.
Oof.
And I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna fail this. If I don't have you don't take the final, that's devastating. He saw me walk in. I must have been white as a ghost. And he's like, "Jamie, come and see me in my office hours."
you came after the exam is finished.
Yeah, I was like done. And I was like, I don't even know, like, I don't even know what happens. I go to his office and he's now since passed. So I'm not getting him in trouble for this. And may he rest like amazing human. But I went to his office. I'm like, "I'm so sorry I woke up late." He's like, "You have an A on every test this semester. I'm giving you an A on the final." And
Aw.
he did. And that was because though I saw him as a person too, right? Like we always see our
Yeah.
teachers as, teachers or administrators, but when you
Hmm.
realize they're human as well too, and they have to deal with a lot more than, you're one individual, like whatever it is. So I think it's really cool that you said that you're there and that your professor sees you. They know if you're not paying attention,
Yeah.
know if you're not learning, and that's
How
huge.
come I never heard that story?
You probably have, but you have forgotten it because again, you're like 70 or something.
Well, who did he take on his cruise?
He never went. I never got him.
Ah!
I didn't have that leeway to give a free cruise away.
Simone, a question for Simone. In your experience, also for Nicole, in your experience, can you equate confidence with fearlessness?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't want to say fearlessness, but the ability to move past fear. So I think that every human is going to have fears of things. This is why Olivia should go with us to go see the mountain
I'm
gorillas,
not doing
which,
that.
yeah, see, you got to move past your fears. But
I'll
I
just have my
think,
dad come visit you for a minute. You'll get used to
yeah,
it.
right.
I make house calls. Don't worry about it.
Can you imagine? She would be terrified.
No.
But the ability to move forward even when you are afraid, I think that's when the greatest growth happens. So I think it's healthy to have a little bit of fear, and then understanding moving through that fear is what really builds more confidence. So I don't want to say I'm fearless about anything. I mean, there's things that I'm afraid of, but I know like my fears are not my reality, right? Like there's not a warrior out there that doesn't have fears, right? But they understand that's not their reality, that they're able to move past that, move through it and keep going. And that's how I feel, is that every time I'm afraid of something, I need to control that voice inside my head, because the voice would like to tell me, oh, you're not capable of doing this. There's no way. I mean, that was Kilimanjaro for a lot of it. Like while I'm doing it, I'm like, what am I doing here? I should not be here. I don't even, and but it was taking those steps through that fear, I think, that really helps build confidence.
And coming back, you really come back as a transformed person. How does that affect you and your spouse?
I think it was a really good thing, right? I think that he understood me. He's always been super supportive, but I think that moment where he saw such a big change in me, I think that was so powerful for him as well, because he knew how much I struggled. He's like, okay, what are we doing this week? What are you choosing next? What's the next thing you want to try? And he always, again, he was always supportive about it. But I think for him to see like, wow, she has stepped into her power, I think that for him was also transformational.
That's great.
I love that. It's really hard, I think, when you are in a relationship and one person in the relationship has a very definitive role. Like they've gone to law school, or they're an
Hmm.
accountant, or they've gone in the medical field. And Olivia, as you start, going to law school, you can do a million things with a law degree, and then you've got another person in a partnership who is, this is going to sound like like free spirited, and that sounds terrible, but that's just how I would explain myself as well. So don't get offended. Um, but like how you're kind of like, well, what works, and then have the flexibility to kind of figure that out. And that's hard because it's just a different way of thinking, right? It's a different way of what is our thought process? What is that, we see things differently. And so I think that's great that there's that, and that support system's huge, right? Being able to support either way, and going back and forth is huge.
Yeah. And I feel for a long time, because I've worked at many different things, but there were also times where I was a stay-at-home mom, and which I loved. Looking back, I really loved. At the time, I was trying to justify what I was doing with my life. So I would say, people would ask me what I did. Oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, or just Rob's wife, or whatever, like using just to justify what I, was doing, which is ridiculous, right? So when people talk about themselves, I'm really big on the words you say matter, because if you're talking yourself down all the time, that's what you're going to believe. If you're talking yourself up, and there's tons of research on it, that if you're talking yourself up, then that's what you're going to believe as well.
Yeah. I love to say the words you use directly impact the results that you get.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
And
I love
it's
that.
like, and as I've got a little woman that I'm growing and, trying to get her to be as amazing as you are, Olivia,
Mm.
and telling you to advocate for yourself and thinking about the fears that you have. And it's like we said, like we're just humans as well, too. We may be the mom or the dad or, whatever it is, but it's our first time, like you said, on earth as well, too. We're just trying to figure out like,
Yeah.
and every day we're throwing new curveballs of having to navigate new things in the world. and it's definitely a challenge. So it's a fun, interesting game, as they say. I don't know who they is.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Listen, Olivia, we know that law school is on the horizon next week, and that's there. But I'd love to ask you. We started off with, what's one great thing that's happening today? What is the biggest thing that you're looking forward to in the near future?
Ooh. Hmm. In the near future. Gosh, there's a lot that I'd look forward to. I think like looking forward is a great way to get through your day. And I've always kind of done that, like had expectation or like had little events planned throughout the couple of months I have, just so it's like something that you can like, oh, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, something to look forward to. I think what I'm most looking forward to is making new friends. And I love my old friends. I do. They just came down to Nashville, two of my best friends last weekend. But I'm in a new city. It's the first time I've done this. Well, second time, but first time without COVID. So the first time you can really do it without having the social stress of that. And it's doing it as an adult, which is weird because I started college at 17. I mean, you're making it's just different. This is like adult relationships that I'm forming, and it's going to be a whole different type of friendship because it's not going to be someone that I can just see after we're done with the day and they just live at my apartment like my roommates were. It has to be more intentional, and yeah, just more intentional friendships rather than circumstantial.
I love that. What about you, Simone?
So in the really near future, we're doing something tomorrow that we have never done before
Oh my God, I'm
as
so
a family. I
jealous. I
know.
forgot that you're
As a
doing that.
as a family or individually, we are going scalloping in Steinhatchee.
Ooh.
Never done that before. So we are staying at this nice motel. I was going to say something else, but we haven't stayed there yet, so I can't say. We're staying at a nice motel, and it has enough, I'm calling it a casita, but it has it's got a little kitchen and three queen beds in the room, so all six of us are staying there together
In one
Sounds
room?
familiar.
in one
Sounds
room. Yeah.
Oh.
And we're going with another friend and their kids. And so we'll be renting I think, a pontoon boat for the next 2 days. And literally, we have our little masks and our little bags to put the scallops in. And, hey, so I'm really looking forward to it because it's something completely different.
Are you going up to Wachula or somewhere like
So it's
somewhere?
called Steinhatchee. With the city we're going to is Steinhatchee.
You
And I
didn't
guess
see a
it's,
scallop recipe on TikTok, did you?
I know.
Just
Yeah, I
I
live.
curious.
You got you,
I
you
saw a video of people scalloping though, and I told you about this, Mom, but you bring home a lot of scallops, like 500. That's how much these people brought was like they got 500 scallops.
Oh, we're going to get more than that because I have put out a challenge that the top, the person who gets the most in our family gets $100. And this family is
Who's
all about
going? Oh,
competition.
the younger three?
Yeah. And Emma.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then
So,
Ari is gonna win.
oh, I think Noah might win, actually. I
I
mean,
guess he's good like
Wow.
if
that.
we want to take bets, we can, yeah,
Millie will do it for like two scallops and then she'll be like, okay,
that's
I'm
what
gonna
she already
tan now.
said. That's what she already said is that
I
she's,
can't wait to hear how this goes. And then I'm looking forward to some like scallop ceviche.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you can like let me know when that's ready. I'll head on over.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I will send pictures as well.
Oh, amazing. Dad, the question is, I need to step away for a minute, but the question was, what are you most looking forward to right now in the near future?
Hmm. Well, retired about 5 years ago. Traveling has become one of the most common things that we do. We have a lot of free time now. It's nice to kind of reinvent yourself, having worked so many years, a lot of 7-day work weeks. It's nice not to do that anymore. You identify yourself so much with your career during those years. Uh, Maintaining your health as you get older, because I've got a goal of 105. That's for Jamie's benefit. We can make
Nice.
it that far. All the advances in medicine and staying healthy, maintaining what you already have and getting better, and just enjoying every day as much as you can.
I love that. So you just look forward to each day that comes your way.
Yeah, there's really no other attitude to have. It's the old expression. You're not going to change the past. We've all had various shades of the past. The future is not guaranteed. So why not enjoy now?
I don't think I can even follow that. So I'm just going to leave that there. Well, it has been so awesome talking to you both. What a fun conversation.
Hmm.
Dad, any final questions you have?
I want to follow up with Olivia and see how this new journey begins and ends and continues in the field of jurisprudence.
Yes. I
So
will
I'll
do
let
you.
you guys know.
Olivia, I'm married to an attorney and I have a very argumentative 8-year-old, but he has told her there's not a chance in this world she is allowed to go to law school.
Ah,
Which is, of
Wow.
course, an open invitation to sign up now.
Right.
Yeah.
She's
right.
like, okay, well, then I want it. Right. Take it away. Then you want it even more.
Well, I mean, in our house with 6 kids, not one of them went to
No.
medical school. So,
And
I
not
mean,
one
we
will.
got two more to go, but
They're not going.
they're not going. So, and they saw how he worked or how he still works, and they're like, kids these days, they don't want to work 80-hour weeks. They want their 40 hours and not a minute more than that. Not saying that that's you, Liv, but so
Not as a lawyer.
yeah,
No.
Yeah.
but it's totally different thing. So it's interesting because everybody said when we had, oh, definitely at least one of them is going to be a doctor. Nope, nope, nope. So you never know.
Well, they say like we plan and God laughs, right? Like we just
Yeah.
never know what's going to happen or what's going to be. But well, it has been awesome hearing your story. We are so grateful that you took some time out of both of your days to spend with us. Good luck on the scalloping this weekend. Wear sunblock. And
Thank
good
you.
luck with law school
Thank you.
and being intentional. That is like my word. Like my water bottle is like, what's your intention?
I
Like
love
I
that.
think it's so cool that you use that word. Like it's all about like what do you want to give in a friendship also, right? Like what kind of people do you want to surround yourself with? And to this day, I just had 2 of my college friends and roommates visit me like a few weeks ago, and I'm still very close with them. And it is the best relationships at the start of your next chapter, as they say in your story.
Yep. So exciting.
Thank you both so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Good luck on your journeys, and we'll see you all soon.
I hate cliches, but the only thing to fear is fear
Fear
itself.
itself. Yep.
But yeah.
Nice to
Absolutely.
meet you, Olivia.
Nice to meet you.
All right,
Thank you.
bye. Thank
Great
you.
seeing you.
Bye.
See you later. It's a pleasure.
Wow, when my dad and I both just like did that bye thing together, that's just freaky. We'll talk soon. Bye, buddy.
Okay.
Bye bye.
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 What a
I'm ready.
cool.
I've done the celery fields. I'm ready to do it with you.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do it. For those listeners that don't know, so where we live, I don't even know why are they called the celery fields?
I think it was an old landfill, and they've kind of converted into kind of walking trails. And because it's low ground, maybe celery was grown out there. But that's the best.
And the
I do.
elevation is what, like 4 feet above sea level?
It's this. I don't think the size of the mountain is commensurate necessarily with the size of the experience.
Agreed. And my whole life, you and I have done some cool adventures. So that was so fun. That was really fun. That was a really great. I mean, all of our conversations are fun and different.
I
And
was tempted, but with help. When she meant about the abusive relationship, I wanted to delve a little bit more to see with whom it was. But I dared not tread it, not knowing it that well at this time.
Well, I will lend you this if you'd like, and you could read
Oh,
more.
it does tell me in there. Yes, it tells you in
So
there.
there's some good stuff in here that talks about just, where her mindset comes from. And I think it's pretty cool. So I will lend this to you and you can read this. And for our listeners that don't know what I'm holding up, it is The Extraordinary UnOrdinary You. And it's a book, Simone's first book that she wrote. And it says, follow your own path, discover your own journey. Great book. And so I highly recommend the read. And then, until next time. And we
Is
learn.
it too late to be able to adopt a couple of children?
You still can.
Let me think about that.
Okay. All right. There's a grand need. It's harder today than it ever was, I believe. But and you know what, Dad? So for listeners, you don't know, but for every Sunday, I have dinner with my parents. It's our weekly tradition. I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to have both my parents still around, but also
Great cook.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
Yes, sir.
Also live very close. So they come over. So Dad, I think we should take the devil egg challenge.
Mm.
You like deviled eggs, right?
I need to do a little more research.
All right. Well, I'll make some and we can figure it out from there.
Is there a hot dog challenge?
Oh my gosh. On that note, hot diggity dog. Listeners, thanks for joining us. And until next time, what's your
story? Oh, see ya.
Bye.
Hey, thank you for tuning into today's What's Your Story podcast.
To learn more or share your story, go to jamiemarco.com. That's www.jaimemarco.com. And we will see you next time.